Hello and welcome to a brand new series here on UK Theme Parks of Planet Coaster. Now then, we've been playing Planet Coaster since its release a couple of years ago and we've only racked up 460 hours. However, we love it. We absolutely love it. And we thought it was time to share some of our creations with you. And we're going to start with something very, very simple. Well, I say simple. It probably won't be as simple as what it sounds. However, we're going to give it a bash. So, we are doing a 4-part series on this, and it's going to be an adventure pier, and it's going to be effectively a pier. Now then, there are lots of piers around the UK with rides on the end. That includes my kind of most local large pier, which would be Brighton, but also we have Clarence Pier down the road from us here. And then right up to some of the other piers in the UK, including those in Blackpool and across the Western-super-Mare. There are loads and loads of piers in the UK. And of course, let's not forget some of the piers in the United States as well. You know, the Santa Monica Pier undoubtedly comes to mind with its Vekoma coaster on, or Arrows coaster, I believe as it was on the end there. So piers are kind of something that I've never tackled before in Planet Coaster. We usually go for the big parks, we add the big rides, and we kind of go from there. And this is really something new for me, so I really, really hope you enjoy it. Now in this first part, obviously as you can see now, I'm literally planning out the pier outline. As we zoom out a bit there, you can see there'll be an entrance area, which we're going to build the building for now. As kind of is typical when you walk onto a pier, you very rarely kind of get straight into the action. You have a few shops, a few stalls, maybe a couple of arcades before reaching a ride or attraction area. There'll then be a middle bit. I haven't decided quite on the theme for the middle bit yet, before going down to the second half of the pier, which is the end bit, which is really where you tend to find the massive, big, you know, stunning attractions. And we are going to try and build some really big attractions on the end as well. Now then, I have plans for 2 roller coasters on this pier. Not to kind of the extent of a, you know, Arrows, big kind of Vekoma looping coaster. However, we are going to try and squeeze in a Gerstlauer Eurofighter on the end, which would be, you know, really, really special because we've not made the blueprint that big. And we also want a spinning coaster as well. You get a lot of Revachon kind of spinning coasters on piers, you know, the standard design. We want to go something a little bit different. In this episode, I'm going to get both of them built. I want to kind of get the entrance filled together here, as you can see, kind of get the building in. We'll add a few details to it now, and we'll probably come back and we will, you know, attach the rest of the details to it then. We're then going to move straight to the end of the pier, and we're going to build, you know, one of the rides I've really, really wanted, and you know, as far as I know, you know, concerned, it's a, you know, a pier ride, a great pier ride will be a break dance, the Power Moves, which has not been that added to the game that long ago, to be fair. So it's a fairly new one, and it's not one I've used in a park yet. Now then, we're not going to go with the typical kind of pier theme here. You can see here from, you know, some of the detail I'm trying to put in that we're not just going to go for here's the ride, here's the queue line, off you go. We're going to add a little bit of a theme to it. Now, I have, as I said, the idea of the theme at the end, and that will be around kind of a disaster twister tornado has hit the end of the pier and has taken the buildings down, and the rides remain around the buildings. Now, this would fit a theme park quite nicely. So I am obviously in mind that we are on a pier, and we're not going to have, you know, stunning theming. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, you know, I can't build some of the amazing creations I see on YouTube for Planet Coaster. I mean, some of them are utterly incredible. But we're going to give it our best shot. And, you know, we want to make it so you've got a little bit of theme in there, and it's not something you would normally come across when you come across a pier, along with the fact that also you are on a pier. You're going to be above water. You know, there's quite a lot going on around you. It's quite open. So you're not really going to get too immersed in the moment. So we're going to try and get the balance right in, you know, something that's very, very different to what I've done before. So as you can see here, this is kind of the entrance area. This is a real sort of classic look to going in. And then down to the end, this is when we're going to build our power kegs, our breakdance ride. Now then, the pier end, I think I'm going to split into 2 halves. So this end you see here is going to be like a, you know, a wooden sort of harbour-like theme as you would get, and it's going to be themed to sort of a disaster, as we said, a tornado, things coming in. So I'm going to build the scenery first. I know a lot of people build the rides first, but with this one being a flat ride, I want to build the scenery, or certainly some of the scenery around. We're going to place the power kegs ride, and then we're going to kind of theme the rest around it. So first we'll get the block in. As you can see, the queue will go in here a bit. We'll make sure it's, you know, symmetrical, if you will, so we can slot the ride in nicely at the end. Now, there are some nice disaster bits and pieces, so we're going to pop a plane in here, and then of course we're going to have to actually tilt the plane, edit it slightly. I want the queue to go round in the building, so the plane's going to have to be quite high. and then we're going to remove some boarding from around it before popping in some, you know, some different stuff. We'll fill in the bits and pieces here, and then we're going to have some that come out. Now then, as I said, there aren't many piers that are themed. In fact, I can't really think of any piers that have, you know, an amazing theme. Most of them are fairly standard in how they are. You know, the ride comes on. There's a lot of classic rides on the end of piers. You could argue there's not, you know, real high-tech rides that you'd expect to see a Eurofighter on an end of the pier or anything like that. They tend to be basic rides. So we really want to kind of buck that trend a bit and give you know, the visitor a really unique experience when they come on here. That, you know, there will be moments where they're really in the moment. And then there'll be moments they turn around and they see the beautiful sea and they see kind of the hills and everything in the background. So it's going to be a really kind of different feel, as I said, to anything I've done before, and indeed anything you come across. You know, a lot of people on here go, we want to build the most realistic theme park. But I mean, what is realism when it comes to a theme park? Let's be honest here. If you can, you know, you could build anything in a theme park these days. You can see from some of the absolute basic theme parks that we have here in the United Kingdom, right the way across the United States, where you have, you know, amazing Harry Potter theme in which, when you watch the films, you'd never believe you were actually there. So anything is believable when it comes to this. Obviously, you could build tall coasters and you can build the fastest coasters and you could potentially, you know, rate them with massive Gs and everything like that. But pretty much anything is possible. I don't like the word realistic, because you can build a theme park however you want. And I'm sure you guys have come across theme parks where you think, I can't believe this place exists, and come across theme parks and thought, on the other end, I cannot believe this place is actually real. So, you know, we're kind of going to go somewhere in the middle on the pier here. As you can see, the plane's crashing through the wall here. We're going to build around it, do a bit of tilting, do a bit of sliding, make it look like it's coming out the wall. And I'm really keen on getting this piece in place first and then putting the ride around it, rather than getting the ride in and having a problem getting the scenery done afterwards. So we're going to get the basics done here. Which is what we're doing now, and this will be the first corner which you see as you walk up the pier. You'll see this massive building on the left hand side, and tucked behind that will be the breakdance ride. Now, with the breakdance ride, you can't have a breakdance ride without having some kind of fantastic lighting, and that's something we're going to do. We have mastered the strobe light. Sadly, there is no strobe light in Planet Coaster, which is a real shame, and we'll get onto that a bit later. But we've kind of mastered the strobe light, so, you know, when it gets dark, we want the strobes to really hit. And, you know, when it's a nice disaster area like this, even more so that we want some flashing lights. So you can see here, we're going to put some smoke in, so, you know, some constant engine smoke from the crash plane, which you see in there. And if you're wondering why there's no hole in the back of the building, well, you know, in a tornado front, this has been pushed into the front, completely wedged into the front of the building, resting quite nicely on there. We're also going to try and pop a few lights inside as well. Just nothing too special, to be honest, just a couple of constant lights. I think we'll have a red one there, and we'll have it flashing, and we'll probably have an orange one next to it, which will also need to be flashing. So when you're on the outside, you can kind of see they'll flash away continuously, hopefully at different rates. Yeah, just like that. So that's the kind of premises of the corner which you see there. We'll have some doors, we'll add some windows, and we'll obviously add a roof shortly as well. But that is the corner. That is kind of where we want to be. Yeah, liking that. I'm quite happy with that, to be honest with you. Now then, roof-wise, fairly standard roof. We're going to pop around now. As I said, we are going to theme kind of right the way to the edge of the building. Particularly where I am, yeah, around where I am now. However, that will probably change slightly, because I'd like the queue to come out of there. The queue's going to be going in where I'm building now, walk right the way around the back and come out at the edge. So we'll have to probably change that end and disaster it up slightly, but certainly for the moment, I want to get the basics in there so we have a nice base to put our ride in. Now they're going to strip this back very slightly now and kind of change it a little bit, mix it up a bit, you know, with some broken pieces and some half pieces to kind of make it look like the building has indeed fallen down. We'll probably use some of the scaffolding here as well, again to make it look like the building's being propped up. And, you know, just a couple of really simple pieces, as you can see, come together really nicely to make it look like the side of the building has completely come away and got completely wrecked in the tornado that's struck the end of this pier. Bit of extra theming across, a few planks of wood holding it together. You know, at the end of the day, we still want to be operational, so we've sort of made it safe. We'll stick a couple of bits in here. But you know, this wouldn't be out of place in a theme park. Disaster areas and theme parks are obviously really, really popular in the UK, particularly with Merlin Entertainment's disaster areas are pretty much all we have, to be perfectly honest with you. We don't really tend to get anything original anymore, but you know, when you go out and about around the world, you do get different ones as well as disaster ones. And there's our power kegs. Look at that, look at the breakdance there. So we're going to put these lighting towers around the outside. It'll help enclose it a little bit, but also we're going to pop some lights on there. We'll put some floodlights on there, put a little grid on there sort of now to hold the lights, keeping it within the theme rather than, you know, having scaffolding. A few shelves around, or ledges, let's call them ledges around as well, and of course we'll enclose those to make it more look like a balcony. Pop those on each end, make sure that lines up. There we go. So yeah, when you approach this ride, you know, it is only a breakdance ride. However, it's going to be nicely tucked in the corner, part of the main building. And yeah, just I love the look of it, absolutely love the look of it. Really kind of enclosed, really, really beautiful ride, really beautiful ride. We'll change the colour shortly, it's not too urgent right this second. But that is the essence of it. So as I said, this is where we're going to be putting the entrance. So we'll remove those pieces and we'll have a nice archway that goes in there before moving on to our first roller coaster. Now then, I think the Eurofighter might need a little bit more space. So right next to the breakdance, I think, yeah, this is I think going to be the place for the Wild Mouse coaster. As I said, we want a completely custom one. We don't want to be copying anything off the workshop. We don't want to be doing anything like for like. Obviously, most of the spinning roller coasters, most of the Wild Mouse type roller coasters do start off with the typical left and right, side to side. So we're going to kind of stick with that for a tiny bit. It does get the train in motion, does allow a few block breaks as well. And then we're going to venture off into a completely different layout before completely dropping down and heading down to another part of the ride. So we've got to keep the drops in. It's always nice to have drops. The spin will actually release at the top. So you'll see it here, it comes around, the spin releases here, and then you'll get a little bit of spin. We'll make sure it goes, yes it does, before heading back round, and a little bit of down and back up again before heading to the rest of the ride. So we don't want it to be, you know, this is the family coaster. We're only going to have 2 coasters. There's no doubt about the fact that the Eurofighter is going to be the more thrilling coaster. We'll probably pop an inversion in that. So this is a family coaster, just a different family spinning coaster. So we don't want it too rough, we don't want it too kind of spinny, we don't want it too long because we are on the end of the pier, and we want to make sure that we can get some block breaks in there and run multiple cars, because we expect the pier to be fairly busy at times. We're going to run the pier a bit more like a theme park where you know, we don't have sort of wristband options on games and things. We're going to have a one entry price, and then that will do it all rather than paying per ride and the rides becoming unpopular. But yeah, that goes around really nicely. Really happy with that. Really, really happy with that. And that's the outline of the ride. So this will fit in with the theme on the left-hand side with the breakdance as well. So we've definitely got a bit of work to do there to link these two. As you can see, the breakdance really stands out by itself. Certainly once the colours sorted, it really stands out. We're going to tuck a little ride in the corner here. We really want to get 9 or 10 rides on this pier. You know, most piers we go to tend to have, if you include the juvenile rides, probably 9 or 10 rides as an average. That's at a wristband price of sort of around £20. So we kind of want to do the same. We want to make sure nothing hangs over the edge of the pier. So we're going to move the ride over there, as you can see, so we can build around it. You know, we're not going to build around the whole pier because it is a pier. We want to keep some railings and things, but we certainly want to enclose the rides a little bit. As such, I'm not thinking about doing a dark ride on this one. We may do a dark ride in the future. We're going to have upper series and episodes coming up, so we may do a dark ride in the future. So I don't want to completely enclose a ride, but you know, when you're theming to a disaster like this, we definitely want to include some indoor and outdoor elements, and you know, have things behind buildings. So the little looper here, you know, classic ride, absolutely classic. You don't see very many of these travel in the UK anymore. I certainly don't think there's any in park models, but such a small footprint can kind of fit in anywhere. And of course our spinning coaster as well, which will be next to it. Now we're going to just finish this one off. We've got to measure slightly to make sure that it doesn't touch it, because we want to put a little bit of a roof on this, so we don't want to get this wrong. There we go. build up and reattach, and we'll build up a bit to there, add this sort of enclosed, and I think we're going to pop a roof on this one as well. So that's what I love. I love the fact there are some small blueprint rides, and this is the problem when you come to build a pier, or you come to build a small park. We've recently watched Sean's indoor park. You can't have these massive rides because they've got such a big footprint. And something that he did really well was obviously make the basis of the rides and then change them as needed to fit them in. And the amount he fitted into that park was something else, really was something else. So as I said, our goal for this one is 9 or 10 rides, and we don't want them to just be basic rides. Most of them will be themed, but not all of them, because again, we are on a pier. So while we want to add a bit of theme and add a bit of variety and a little bit of a difference, we do want to recognise the fact that some rides are just going to be sort of plopped there. We're going to enclose this one. We're going to finish off this for a bit, and I think we'll probably hold off on theming the spinning coaster whilst we move over the other side. So this is kind of your derelict harbour based, completely fallen apart wooden structure, and then we're going to really mix it up a bit for the other side. Now then, first of course, we're going to separate them. So I don't really want to call these lands as you would normally see at a theme park, because at the end of the day, this is a pier. This is a pier. It's not one where we're going to have lands, but you are going to notice a theme change as you walk down the pier and as you walk kind of across left to right at the end. So this is kind of the enclosed part, and this I think will be a maximum 3 rides. I can't see me fitting another ride in there. By the time we've got some queue lines, maybe a few vending machines, which will be favoured on this one, I can't see us fitting another ride in here. So ride-wise, for the kind of wooden disaster area, this is where we are. This is what you see now, and this is how we'll do it. So we'll just finish off the front of this building. We'll kind of segregate it off so we know where we're working on the other side before moving over, and we are definitely going to build our second roller coaster, our Eurofighter. And I'm really looking forward to this, because these Eurofighters, and particularly on this game as well, you can just make so compact, and you can do ridiculously tight layouts with them. And it's not unheard of having these kind of layouts, to be fair, around the world. When you look at the Eurofighters that we have, even the Infinity coasters, if you look at the Smiler or Alton Towers, the amount of track and loops and everything that's fitted into that area is absolutely insane. You feel some of the tight turns on Saw the Ride at Fort Park, and indeed some of the other ones across Europe as well. So we're really looking forward to this, and it is going to be very slightly different. So we're going to angle it. It is going to go straight into a lift hill, corner to lift hill, and we're going to sit it around about 80 foot. Now I want this one to kind of be, have some amazing hang time moments, and it's going to have some really great theming, and the whole ride is going to be themed. So where the mouse is going to feel a bit more kind of enclosed, this one's going to have a really good theming. And you'll notice that I bring the loop slightly off the ground, because we're going to have a little track ride go underneath it, and you'll see there as well that I really want some hang time on that loop. Really want some hang time on that loop. So we've got a few adjustments to make here, but this is the premises. We're going to have the drop into the loop, keeping it off the ground so we can go underneath it. There we go. Nice hang time. That will fly off the end of the pier, that car, but not for long. We're then going to go up and over. Now, you don't know what we're going over yet, but I have an idea. I have an idea for this one. It's an idea that you will see in episode 2 as well, on how we're going to theme this side. It is still going to be themed to a disaster area. It's not going to kind of be completely different theme altogether. The tornado is literally ripped across the top of this pier. However, there were 2 themes in place at the end of this pier, and this is going to be a really sort of strange theme, particularly again for a pier. Really strange theme. I can't wait to put it together. We've got a few ideas on how we put it together and how we incorporate this kind of turn and out and back in through the loop on it as well. We've just got to get the design finalised. I don't want it to take up much more room than this, in honesty. I don't mind it coming across the back here, but we're not going to go out onto the main pier bit. We've got a couple more rides. I probably estimate we need to get arguably 7 of the rides, probably on this top end, and then have 2 or 3 maybe in the middle. So we've really got to be tight on this, on how we do it, and leave a bit of space for a few flat rides as well. We're not going to do a water ride. The water rides take up quite a lot of space, sadly. So again, for a pier, very difficult to even pop a little log flume in there, because we've really limited the space. But we can keep this basic. We can go around here and then back to the station, and And yeah, we'll test it out. We'll test it how it's going. But I really hope you've enjoyed this episode. So this is the first episode of 4. We've got 3 building episodes, and we've got a final episode with it all running. And this pier is going to be very, very different. And you know, I've not seen anyone do a pier before. So let us know in the comments, what do you think? Do you play Planet Coaster? Have you enjoyed Planet Coaster? You know, what have you built in Planet Coaster? By all means, leave some links in the description if you've got them on Steam, and we'll all check them out. We'll all check them out together, because Planet Coaster is the most realistic game I've ever played on the theme park front. And you know, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 was brilliant, but the detail and the changes you can make in this are absolutely stunning. So we are going to share this adventure pier with you over the next couple of episodes. I really hope you come back for it. We're going to quickly finish off this Eurofighter, and we'll welcome you back in episode 2 so you can see exactly how the theme plays out.